was from India. She brought this to Srila Prabhupada, who was in San Francisco at that time, and she wanted to know what this was. So she walked into the room, showed it to Prabhupada. Prabhupada, as soon as he saw, this was Jagannath actually, he immediately offered his obeisances to Prabhupada. And then he asked her, "Are more like him?" So she went back, and actually, of course, people would import so many things in those days, and they still do, I suppose, Indian things which are of interest to young people especially. And so she came back with Baladev and Subhadra, and the whole set of Jagannath, Baladev and Subhadra were there. And immediately Srila Prabhupada, he told the devotees, this is a sign, this is an indication, we should understand this as Lord Jagannath's desire to actually come to America, and therefore we should start planning immediately Rath Yatra. And of course, since then, Rath Yatra around the world is history, and you are also making history here by having your second annual Rath Yatra. Now in San Francisco, they're having their maybe 52nd Rath Yatra, something like that. 1967, right? So 1997 was 50 years, so we're 99, like that. We are presently actually in a very special period, we could say, in the history of humanity, in the history of mankind, for two major reasons. I mean, there are many more, but two major reasons I want to touch upon briefly. One of them, of course, is that by the mercy of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and by the mercy, of course, of our founder, Acharya Srila Prabhupada, the Sankirtan movement is more and more being introduced all over the world, especially through these kind of festivals like Rath Yatra, which are very much attracting the public, which are performed in the public as well, and are very effective in terms of purifying, to begin with, our own consciousness by chanting, participating, and also purifying the whole atmosphere. And whoever sees Lord Jagannath, whoever hears the holy name, whoever receives prasadam today, people who are on the second or third balcony in different homes who are coming down to actually get the mercy of Lord Jagannath. So this is one reason why this period in the history, we're all fortunate, we're extremely fortunate to have been born actually at this particular time. Prabhupada explains that actually the demigods are waiting in line to be born during this era of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Harinam Sankirtan movement. And of course the second reason is that since the physical disappearance of our founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada in 1977, we have a 12-year period, and I'll speak about this a little bit later on, a 12-year period whereby we can commemorate and remember all of the different pastimes and activities performed by Srila Prabhupada 50 years ago. Just like 2 years ago, 2016, we celebrated the Golden Jubilee, 50 years of ISKCON being registered, isn't it, in 1966 in New York. And so that was 1996. So now from 1996, we actually have this window of opportunity, we could say, whereby we can remember and commemorate all of the different activities performed during Srila Prabhupada's manifest pastimes. And this will take us actually to the year 2027. November the 2nd, 2027 will bring an end to this 12-year period, 12-year era of golden jubilees. Because November the 2nd, 2027 we will celebrate Srila Prabhupada's 50th anniversary of taking Samadhi. You see. So, Srila Prabhupada is very merciful in this way in giving us different kinds of opportunity. And of course, I want to speak a little bit about how this Rath Yatra and how Lord Jagannath is so important for all of us. And then I'd like to spend a little bit of time to explain, our ISKCON society, again, by the mercy of Srila Prabhupada, devotees have so many wonderful opportunities to engage in different kinds of preaching activities. We are part of a worldwide society which is becoming larger, bigger, with more members every day actually. And therefore there are unlimited opportunities for every single one of us to be somehow or other connected and engaged in helping Srila Prabhupada in his mission. Naturally, when Lord Chaitanya was in Jagannath Puri, although his initial desire, Lord Chaitanya, when he took sannyas at the age of 24, his thought, his meditation, his desire at that time, let me go to Vrindavan. He wanted to go to Vrindavan. He wanted to immerse himself completely in the pastimes of Radha and Krishna. And of course he, right after sannyas, as we know, this is nicely narrated in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, he started walking, if not running, towards Vrindavan, isn't it? But then the devotees, by the initiative of Nityananda Prabhu, they tricked the Lord to come to Shantipur, and then in Shantipur, where he met all the devotees, including his mother, Mother Sachi, it was decided that it will be too heartbreaking for the devotees if Lord Chaitanya is far away in Vrindavan. Better he be, this was a request of Mother Sachi, that my dear son, please make your headquarters in Jagannath Puri. In this way, every year actually our devotees go for Jagannath Rath Yatra, and they will be able to bring news of you to me, who will be here in Navadvip. So for the Vaishnavas, we have these three prominent plays that are most important for all of us, beginning with Vrindavan, of course, which is the birthplace of Lord Krishna, which is the replica of Goloka Vrindavan in the spiritual sky, in the spiritual world. And of course, in this Goloka Vrindavan, in the spiritual world, there is also Navadvip. So Mayapur is also as important for all of us because Lord Chaitanya performed his pastimes in Navadvip. And the third most important place for all of us actually is Jagannath Puri, because it is in Jagannath Puri that Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu taught us very important lessons in bhakti, in devotion, which is actually the essence of the Vedic teachings, which is also the essence of the teachings of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, which is also the essence of what the Goswamis of Vrindavan were entrusted to actually extract, as we know, the 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan, to extract all things in relation to bhakti and devotional service. So Lord Chaitanya, as we know, he remained in Jagannath Puri, especially from the age of 30 till his last pastimes at the age of 48. So for 18 consecutive years, he remained in Jagannath Puri, simply fully absorbed in the pastimes of Sri Radha and Krishna. And he would participate, of course, every year, as we know, which is nicely described in the Chaitanya Charitamrita by Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami in the Ratha Yatra festival. One time during the Rath Yatra festival, again this is mentioned by Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, Srila Rupa Goswami, who was a very advanced devotee, very close associate of the Lord, actually when Lord Chaitanya would dance in front of Lord Jagannath, he would be totally, of course, absorbed in ecstatic emotions. And he would mumble or he would say different things. Sometimes it could not be understood actually by other devotees. But there was this one particular prayer that he recited, and I'm sure many of you have read this pastime before, but it's very significant. Srila Rupa Goswami actually could understand the deep meaning of this particular prayer. And in response to that prayer, he himself actually composed a very nice prayer, which the Lord actually saw when he went to the small hut of Haridas Thakur. And Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swatanantikam. So Srila Prabhupada explains how this verse is actually very important in that Srila Rupa Goswami is praying to Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, how can I nicely, fully, completely understand your most inner desires and feelings. So Prabhupada explains that actually this is meant to be the goal and the ideal for every single devotee, especially one who is committed, who has taken diksha or initiation. A disciple is always desiring to know, to understand what is the mood, what is the desire, and what is the mission of my Guru Maharaj. Of course, our ISKCON society, for all of us, the founder Acharya of our ISKCON society is our Shiksha Guru. We are reading his books, we are hearing his instructions through different recordings or through different representatives, his disciples. So, therefore, in many of our temples we have Lord Jagannath, and of course more and more temples are celebrating this Jagannath festival, Rath Yatra festival. In North America, for example, devotees, they call it the Festival of India, because in the Western countries, Jagannath, just like when the British came here, they gave a different name, Jagannath, I forget, I can't even say it. They gave a different name because they could not pronounce the word Jagannath. So they call it the Festival of India in North America, and they travel in the US, also in Canada, and I think altogether maybe 27 different places. They set up Pandal program, and they have generally on weekends. And this attracts so many people. They have dioramas, and they have prasadam distribution, they have stage. And in this way, you know, this is the plan of Srila Prabhupada, the plan of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as well. More and more people are coming in contact with Krishna consciousness. Jagannath, of course, means, as we all know, the Lord of the universe, isn't it? And I want to speak a little bit about this word universe. Lord Jagannath is the Lord of the universe. Now we as devotees, we should be concerned about the Lord's universe. Today actually, and actually with a group of devotees, I happen to, that's my main reason actually for being close to Bangalore, or for coming to Bangalore. I'm actually connected with one important ministry that we have here in India, which is called the ISKCON Daiva Varnashram Ministry. The main focus of this ministry actually is to promote rural development. And it is centered, we have a program called Dharma Go Gram Yatra. Of course, the essence of Dharma is what Lord Jagannath and Rath Yatra is teaching all of us. To awaken this dimension or aspect within our heart, this aspect or dimension of bhakti or devotion, to awaken this devotion to the Lord. So we are traveling to different villages throughout India as well as outside of India, and speaking on this theme of Dharma Gogram Yatra. Now it's very important, especially for our city folks, both devotees as well as non-devotees, but I would say beginning with devotees, because devotees by nature, and by practicing Krishna consciousness, our awareness of things becomes increased, and we develop gradually by engaging in devotional activities, by chanting the holy name, purified consciousness. We are part of a global mission. Actually, we are all part of Krishna's mission. Krishna, when he comes in the material world, paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya chaduskritam dharma samsthapanarthaya sambhavame yuge. So dharma samsthapanarthaya, to re-establish the principles of dharma. Now it is very important for us to deepen our understanding of what is dharma. As a matter of fact, Narada Muni, in the 7th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam, and whenever I travel to different places and meet devotees and speak on the topic of dharma, I always emphasize the importance, especially for householders, to read the last 5 chapters of the 7th canto of the Bhagavatam, because actually it's a presentation by Narada Muni on the subject matter of dharma, as requested by Yudhishthira Maharaj. And one of the important verses mentioned actually by Narada Muni is as follows: Dharma mulam hi bhagavan sarva vida mayo harihi smritam cha tabidam rajan yena chatma prasidati. Yena chatma prasidati. Some of you will remember a similar verse in the 1st canto. Savai pumsam paro dharmo yato bhakti radho saje ahaitu kiya pratihata yayatma suprasidati. In order for all of the basic necessities of life to be met, in order to meet our basic material needs, in order to meet our emotional, psychological, and social needs, as well as to meet our spiritual needs, Narada Muni is instructing Smritam Satadvidam Rajan. A devotee is someone who every day endeavors to more deeply understand about what is dharma and how I can apply it in my life. Our ministry actually is celebrating its 10th anniversary this year. It was established by our leaders here in India in the year 2009. We have in the world today, Prabhupada spoke about this as well, a very critical situation. It's been critical. Of course, the material world is a critical situation because Janma Mritu Jara Vyadi, we are having to face these 4 problems of life, and unless one comes to Krishna consciousness, one will not know how to solve these 4 basic problems of life. And that, of course, is explained in the Bhagavad Gita. But Srila Prabhupada, for example, he explained how for the last maybe 200 years, we are witnessing a major deviation around the world, not only in terms of spiritual swadharma. We are also witnessing a major deviation in terms of material swadharma. Let me explain briefly. Very important actually for us. I will quote what many of you are knowing as well. When Parvati one day was with Lord Shiva, she asked him, who is the most worshipable person, or what is the most worshipable object? And then what did Lord Shiva reply? That famous Aradhananam Sarvesham Vishnu Aradhanam Param. That Vishnu is the most worshipable personality. But then Lord Shiva continued, Tasmat Parataram Devi Tadyanam Samarchanam. But even more worshipable than Vishnu, Tadyanam Samarchanam, all things that are dear to Lord Vishnu. And of course, what is not dear to Lord Vishnu? Everything belongs to Him, and of course certain things or certain objects or certain entities, and one of them actually are the cows. Cows, as we know, are extremely dear to Lord Krishna. He is Gopal. He is the protector of cows. Also, this material world Krishna creates. Aham sarvasya prabhavo matasarvam prabhavtate iti madhva bhajante mam buddha bhava samambitaha. One who is intelligent, actually, who understands that the Lord is the creator, maintainer, and destroyer of this material universe. The point I'm trying to make is the following. Not only is it our responsibility as devotees to develop our Krishna consciousness and to endeavor in terms of spiritual, we call emancipation, spiritual development, but we should also be concerned about how Krishna's energy is being handled. How in modern day society we are dealing with Krishna's energy, which means actually nature, Mother Nature. This is actually a very big topic. It is as a big topic as, the science of self-realization, the science what we call Atma-Dhyan, the science of the soul, or Atma-Tattva, is actually meant to be our main focus. But there's another science also which Lord Kapila Dev speaks about, Sankhya philosophy, where he explains about the wonderful arrangement that Krishna makes in terms of this material energy. I'll mention a few things which some of you might find a little shocking, and I'm doing this purposely because sometimes we need to be a little shocked. I'm not inventing this, but I'm just sharing things that sometimes we're not aware of. Since about 300 years, I was mentioning about a major deviation that is taking place in the world. And most people, including, I would say, a large number of our own devotees, are less aware of some of the details of how this has come about. This major deviation in society, Prabhupada makes reference to this as well, started approximately 300 years ago. Those who are teachers, possibly those who have studied history a little bit, will remember what we call the French Revolution in the 18th century, followed by what we call Industrial Revolution. We are still living in this era of continued Industrial Revolution, where the features of Industrial Revolution is that mankind has become greatly attracted, overly attracted to material activities, material development. And we have minimized the traditional values we have also minimized, if not even rejected, religion or spirituality. When Prabhupada went to America, as we know, he had to preach very strongly because that was very prominent in not only America, in other Western countries as well. So recently, and I think this is in the news right now, here in Bangalore, one of the major global problems, and we have many, but one of them which is going to affect, if not already affecting, the residents of Bangalore, and most of you I think are either in Bangalore or very close to Bangalore, on the outskirts of Bangalore. I think you've heard the news that it is predicted that within a few years, maybe 2 years, 21 major cities, and probably Bangalore is one of them, will not have drinking water for their residents. You've heard this news. You may not have heard the other aspect whereby within a relatively short time of 10 years, 40% of the population in India will not have drinking water. We are in a situation today that actually, since the days of what we call the Green Revolution, that we thought would bring about wonderful changes, positive changes in society, actually the opposite has taken place. In the last 20 to 30 years, throughout the world, due to this fever for so-called material advancement, we have depleted 33% of the natural resources on the planet. What takes millions, if not billions of years to create, within a short, mere 30 years, finished. Every single day, because again of our lifestyle, and a lot of this has to do with our urban lifestyle. Very serious topic, actually. Prabhupada spoke about this as well. Because of urbanization, because of mechanization, because of industrialization, do you know that every single day between 150 and 200 different species, animals, insects, reptiles, aquatics, are becoming extinct? Every day. This has never been seen. You know, what normally would take 10,000 years to happen is happening within a very short time on this large scale. Most of the food that our Matajis, Krishna arranged for all the Matajis to be here, a good number of Matajis also. So, and that should be of concern to the Prabhus, because what the Matajis cook you usually end up getting, right? I mean, traditionally and even now, although things are changing. But most of the food that we are eating, that we are cooking, preparing, we should know is not wholesome food. Why? Mainly because we are not growing it ourselves. We don't know where our food is coming from. A lot of studies, a lot of research is being done in terms of what is taking place on the planet today. Previously, we used to get sufficient nutrients from an orange or an apple. There's that saying, you know, an apple a day keeps the doctor away. You've heard that? An apple a day keeps the doctor away. Now you have to eat 8 apples to keep the doctor away. Yeah, because what was in 1 apple before, now you have to eat 8 apples to get the same nutrients. Practically between 60 and 80% of the nutrients in our food is depleted. It's not there. Why? Because 95% of our topsoil, the nutrients in that topsoil is no longer there. Due to use of modern agriculture, machinery, chemical pesticides, chemical fertilizers, and the food that's coming out of there is not wholesome food. Rather, it is to different degrees poisonous. And we are eating this without even being conscious. There are many, many things. One of the well-known established organizations in the world, the World Health Organization, WHO, right? WHO. They're quite thorough in their research. They came out with a report just last year. They studied how many cows are in India, and they calculated that according to this number of cows that can give X amount of milk, India should be producing, I forget the exact figure, something like 20 billion liters of milk, let's say, a year. That was their finding. But they noticed that actually on the market here in India, while the cows, according to the number of cows, can only produce 20 billion liters of milk, on the market 60 billion liters of milk is being sold. There are some magicians around. Some yogis. So they wrote in the report that this means that actually 40 billion liters of milk is adulterated milk. And they went on to state in the report, this means, if this continues, if this trend continues, it means that 87% of the population in India within the next 20, 30 years will get cancer. We have an extremely critical, serious situation in the world, and it is not only the responsibility of governments. Of course, it should be primarily, it is meant to be the responsibility of leaders in society. If they were Raja and Rishis, as they are meant to be, Vedic culture, kings were Rajasi. They were qualified materially as well as qualified spiritually, which we don't have. Nowadays, they're not qualified materially, nor are they qualified spiritually. We're in bad shape. Yeah. And that's why, to a large extent, we have an extremely chaotic condition in the world. And it is part of our responsibility as devotees to be concerned about what is dear to Krishna. Krishna is telling, isn't it, in the Bhagavad Gita, those who claim to be my devotees are not actually my devotees. Those who are the devotees of my devotees. So it means that actually, how can we claim to love Krishna if we don't love Krishna, what is dear to Krishna? If we don't love and express that love through what is very dear to Krishna, beginning with cows actually. We just had a seminar this afternoon at a yoga shala here in Bangalore on what we have been introducing for the last 4 years, the Om Sri Surabhi campaign. I won't talk about this very long, but those who are interested, we have some literature, some pamphlets on this, and we have some websites. And as a matter of fact, before the end of this presentation, yeah, I was looking for that. We also have an app, called Sri Surabhi app. This is a free app that we came up with about a year back, and it has all kinds of very good information, has all the photos or pictures of our Deshi cows here in India, many links to different websites that are dealing with the subject matter, and also it has a special feature, means it has what is called the Surabhi mantra. Maybe we can play that after some time on your phone, because I can't do so many things at the same time. So our ministry is especially focused on this area which very often devotees don't think about so much. We, for example, have seminars. We go to different temples and offer seminars about good diet, what we should be eating, what we should not be eating. Mostly it's about what we should not be eating. Because most of the food that we're eating is not what we should be eating. Like Mataji, most of us are purchasing, even to this day, commercial oil. It is very bad. Prabhupada, many years ago, we know when Prabhupada started the Sunday Feast program, he used ghee. And that's how he made so many devotees also. I being one of them. Because I remember visiting my first Sunday feast. That was in 1973 in Ottawa. I'm from Canada. So we had a temple in Ottawa, and ghee was unknown to me. Devotees were also unknown to me. So many things were unknown to me, but when I walked out of that temple, I came to know about ghee, I came to know about devotees, I came to know about the Srimad Bhagavatam, and I came to know about jalebi. So therefore I came back the next Sunday. But they didn't have jalebi, that's it. So I had to come back again. Again they had us after some time. So these things are totally unknown, actually, were unknown by the grace of Prabhupada. And what was unknown, what is still to a large extent unknown, Prabhupada actually mentioned that 50% of my mission is yet to be accomplished. Establishing self-sufficient communities, establishing Varnashrama Dharma. So our ministry has that, we could say, mandate, ISKCON, Daiva, Varnashrama ministry. The topic of Dharma is a very large topic, very deep and complex topic, and especially when we start talking about Varnashrama, it's not so easy to discuss. But part of all that is bringing awareness on how we are misusing. I'll just talk briefly about something that I'll be mainly focusing on tomorrow in my different presentations. I don't come so much to Bangalore. I don't come so much to big cities, actually, because mostly I'm in the villages. And I have a humble request also, all you good souls here in Whitefield, is it right? Anyways, somebody told me it's Whitefield, and I'm stuck with that. We need actually some of our congregational members to become aware of the importance of our villages. I visit villages. Actually, I'm doing a doctoral research with Osmania University right now as part of what our ministry is doing, which is doing surveys in different villages. I was in Tumkur for the last 1 week, and I've never seen this kind of situation before. I'd heard about it, but I visit villages. Okay? Means this is important. But now I lost the sound. Hare Krishna. Well, I turn it off and it's still on.
Otherwise you can use this.
I can speak in this. It works?
Yeah, it works.
We are back live. So I visit villages where it's practically in some villages practically there are no more cows. No more cows, more and more in villages. And there is an acute problem. Okay, thank you. There's an acute problem, especially of young people, taking to alcohol. I interview actually 6 of the local leaders for every village that I visit. I have visited over 50 villages. My goal is to visit 108 villages in different states. I hear statements from some of the leaders and some of the people in the villages that young people, young boys, even from the age of 10 and 12 years of age, begin drinking. Between 60 and 80% of the entire village is addicted to alcohol. This is not just in one village, in many villages. And I'm sure it's not only in villages also. These problems were there, of course, when Srila Prabhupada went to America. They're all over the world. But they're becoming worse, and unless we reach out, and why we are focusing on villages, because actually our Vedic culture is primarily, and this is something we don't think about often and don't think about sufficiently. Our Vedic culture is primarily an agrarian-based culture. For those who may not understand agrarian, it means a culture that is connected, meant to be connected with land and cows. Agrarian. Agrarian means village. When the day will come, and the signs are there, and in some cases it has already come, when there are no more cows in villages, we can count the days that this village will remain. This village is doomed. And when society in general will stop depending on cows, because Gava Pratista Bhutanam, all living entities subsist, are supported actually by cows in so many different ways. The whole production of food, there's a natural, what is called symbiosis between cows and the land. There's a natural mutual support, interaction. Cows cannot live with land, and land cannot be fertile, cannot be productive without the presence of cows who are walking on the land, who are grazing the land. It's a big science. It's one of the major sciences, which is fundamental actually in our Vedic culture. Our Vedic culture is based on what is called Char Vidya. Char Vidya, beginning with what is called Anvikshiki, the science of philosophy. Then Trayi, the science of education, which is the domain of the Brahmanas, the intellectuals within society. And then the third science is called Dandaniti, the science of politics, leadership. The ideal system of governance is actually monarchy, not democracy. And the fourth science is Varta, the science of economics. At present, we are unaware of the first science, means we don't know what is meant to be actual philosophy. What is life about? Philosophy of life. Most people don't have proper understanding, isn't it? Only if we are fortunate to come in contact with Bhagavad Gita, Vedic knowledge, or possibly some other scriptures, we begin to understand. But of course, this is our great fortune. The most detailed information that we receive is through the Vedic teachings. So this is absent in the world today. And also the other three natural leaders of society, the Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, and Vaishyas. That's why Prabhupada spoke so extensively on the need and the importance of Varnasrama Dharma. So we are in dire need actually of saving our villages here in India. India is meant to be, has always been the land of Dharma, isn't it? It is meant to show by example how we are meant to live. Actually, it was being done up until the beginning of the Industrial Revolution, which was about the time when the British came here. The production of food on 1 acre of land was 10 times what it is today, without the use of chemicals, chemical fertilizers, chemical pesticides. So the point I'm trying to make is that not only should we be concerned as individuals or as a society with the spiritual aspect of religiosity or the spiritual aspect of dharma, but also we should be concerned with what is, how Mother Bhumi, how the cows and other living entities as well are being abused and exploited. Grandfather Bhishmadev, he makes this very important point in the Shanti Parva of the Mahabharata, that the Lord has given to humanity 3 natural gifts of nature. 3 natural gifts that if we properly take care of those gifts, if we protect them, if we honor them, if we worship them, we will be happy, prosperous, and all of our needs will be met. But the opposite will be there if we neglect, abuse them, or exploit them. The first gift of nature, which is actually the basis of the Vedic culture, which is the basis of the Brahminical culture, as spoken by Grandfather Bhishmadev, are cows. And I know it's very difficult living in cities to be connected with cows, but actually when we become disconnected with cows, we are not fully connected with Krishna. How can we be? If we are not doing our dharma in terms of what is very dear to Krishna, that is not pleasing to Krishna. So Bhishmadev explains, cows is the first of 3 gifts of nature. And we all have a duty and responsibility to become aware of what is happening and what we can do individually or collectively as a congregation, as a temple, etc. Second gift of nature is land, therefore agriculture. Prabhupada, so many times he would say, first is character and first is food, isn't it? We should be producing, Prabhupada, so many times he repeated this point, we should be producing our own food. As we mentioned a few minutes ago, we're all depending on food. We don't know its origin or source. We don't know what we are eating. Cows, land, and the third gift of nature is knowledge. And that's a big topic in itself, of course. Today, one mother was approaching me regarding, homeschooling for her child. I'm very happy, I was happy to hear last year how many devotees here in Bangalore area are making some serious attempts and endeavors to introduce our traditional education and to have at least some aspects of Gurukula training. Homeschooling, we're fortunate here in India actually because homeschooling is allowed. I was recently in Sweden. It's not allowed by the government. Government does not allow homeschooling. Jai Shri Sri Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Devi ki Jai. Jai Shri Sri Ganesh ki. Should be there also. So it actually begins. Prabhupada gave a lot of importance to education. Our children will become the future leaders in society. So we have a little bit of literature that, I don't know, do we have a book table in the back maybe? Book table? This is not a book table. Book table means a table with books. Simple English. Yeah, book table. No?
Well, we have a store we can keep there.
Okay. Well, you should go there because we have some books and some pamphlets that the pamphlets you can take, the books you can also take, but you can give a donation for the books. For the pamphlets you can take, no problem. And hopefully by tomorrow we'll get a few more. These two pamphlets, one of them actually is explaining basically about our ministry and our different activities and mandate, and why this topic of Mother Nature and cows is so important. It's important to all of us. Cows and land is not only for those who are in the country, because the more precarious the situation becomes in the country in terms of our ability to grow food, it means where does your food come every day? Where does the food of city folks come every day? It comes from the village, isn't it? So if that food is not proper food, not wholesome food, that means that you're not getting proper food. So this is one of the pamphlets that explains a little bit about it. Our website address is there. And this explains about what is called Eco-Sustainable Alliance. We're encouraging actually different groups, not only within our society, and there are, fortunately, especially here in India, a number of people, a number of organizations who are concerned about some of these aspects that I'm referring to or talking about. You can bring this now, some of the books on that side. We'll have some of the books. I encourage you to get this one I mentioned a little earlier, called Modernity is Killing Civilization, which is addressing the 3 points I was mentioned by Grandfather Vishnadev. So actually all of you are very brave souls because you've attended and participated in this wonderful Rath Yatra today. You've been walking, I don't know how long it was, a few kilometers possibly? 2 or 3, anyways. Not like in some places where you go like 10 or 15 kilometers. So, but still, so I don't want to take too much more of your time. I once again want to thank the devotees for actually being here, having this temple, reaching out to all of you. And please take advantage of this temple, of the devotees who are here trying to serve the mission of Srila Prabhupada, the mission of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and try to understand the importance of villages here in India. We are having ongoing regular outreach programs in the villages, and we actually had a resolution passed a few years back by the leaders here in India that every single temple should have a department promoting or engaged in rural development. Of course, I know in many small temples, the few devotees who are there already tied up with just managing and doing local preaching. That's where the congregation comes in. Some of our congregation members need to become inspired. Something very interesting, I'll just share this with you as well. In Mayapur during Gaur Purnima, the GBC, our highest authority within our ISKCON society, passed a very important resolution whereby within year 2022, which is just around the corner, every single temple, I don't know if you read this resolution, every single temple must offer only ahimsa milk to the deities. It's a signal for all of us actually that we should only be consuming ahimsa milk. What is ahimsa milk? And what is ahimsa ghee? And we can continue actually ahimsa food, ahimsa cloth, ahimsa medicine. Ahimsa milk, or just very very quickly. Ahimsa milk means milk from, we know for sure, protected cows. Not milk from commercial milk, but from cows that are protected. Not only the cows, but their calves as well. We know for sure they're being cared of. They're not being sent to the slaughter, etc. like that. So we have a global ministry also, in addition to our national ministry for cow protection. We have a global ministry for cow protection and agriculture, and there's information that can be had also through those ministries. We're working with those ministries as well. So once again, just to remind you, do you have the, what is it? Surabhi Mantra. Yeah. I just want to play 10 seconds, maybe 15 at the most, because we have to wind up. Anyone who downloads, any Mataji and any Prabhu who downloads this app called Sri Surabhi before I leave the premises will give you a complimentary small book. No, it has to be downloaded today. Some of you may already have it. I'm talking about those who've not downloaded it. Yeah. So Sri Surabhi, you can just, this is the card, but you don't need the card to So once again, thank you all very much, and some of you may have to go some distance to go back to your respective residences. Continue to take advantage of the facilities here at the temple, participate in different festivals like Rath Yatra and Lord Jagannath. Okay, got it. It's there. Okay, now it's getting a little complicated with our modern technology. So once again, thank you all very much. And you're not there with the books, right? You're here. Going, just now going. This Indian saying, I'm just now going, just now coming. I'll be there in 5 minutes. Half an hour later. So we should end at least by all together repeating Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Hari Bol, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So once again, we would like to thank all the devotees for